Welcome to Shomach Shova on the Daf Shir sponsor Lu Nishma Sambiak Hashom Le'Abbas Yitzchok. We're holding in Sanhedrin Daf Samech Gimel. The Gemara in the middle of Amud says, Omar B'Yechanon, Il Malay Vov Shebehelucho. When Am Yisrael did Chet Hegel, they said, Eile Elohecho Yisrael, Asher Helucho Me'eretz Mitzrayim. So Helucho is Loshen Rabim. It's plural tense. If Am Yisrael would not do plural tense, Nischayver Yishem Shel Yisrael Kloya. Meaning Am Yisrael Chas Hashem get destroyed because they decide to take the Hegel and make him the only God. But because it's said in plural, so he's not the only one. It's connected to Hashem. The Gemara brings Machlokes Tanoim regarding that and says the Bashir Bar Yochai says, "V'lo kol ha'mishatav shel shamayim v'dovar acher nekam min ha'olam." What does that help? They're putting a Kishbor together with the Hegel. That's also very bad. They wanted many gods. So a few questions on this Gemara that needs beer. First of all, what does the first Mandama hold? They hold that Shituf is mutter. Why did they think that if Am Yisrael says Elucho to connect the Egel with Hashem, that's fine? And what is Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai answering? He's saying you can't do Shituf. So why did they say Loshen Rabim? They wanted many gods. Is that better? I mean, so they didn't want one God, they want many gods. What about the problem that they wanted two gods instead of HaKadosh Baruch Hu? But the whole Mahalach of the Gemara seems to be answers based on the Ramban in Parsh Kisiso, right in the beginning of the Parsha of the Eikel. Because the Ramban there goes by Arichos to explain, how did Am Yisrael do Chet Eikel? Am Yisrael just came out of Har Sinai. They saw Mamred Har Sinai. Before that, they were in Kriyas Yamsuf. They saw the Nisim of Mitzrayim. How are they doing Egel? How do they come and say that the Egel is going to be their God? Says the Ramban, that's not the Pshat. Of course, Am Yisrael knew that Kadosh Baruch Hu is Hashem. He's the Elohim. He's the one who created the world. But what they were looking for an intermediate. They felt that Moshe Rabbeinu was the intermediate between them and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He was the messenger. He's the one who brought Hashem to them and their words to Hashem. They felt they needed an intermediate. So they said, we want an Egel, Asher Yelchu L'Faneinu. We don't want him to be our God, but he should be our leader. He should be the intermediate between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And he goes on to explain, that's what when Moshe Rabbeinu came to Aaron and says, what did you do? You created this Egel? So Aaron HaKohen says, what should I do? They gave me their gold and I created an Egel. What's the answer, says the Ramban? What is Aaron HaKohen answering to Moshe Rabbeinu? So he says, that's what Aaron HaKohen is saying. I didn't create a God. I created a leader. They needed some intermediate. That's what they wanted. They wanted someone to replace you, Moshe Rabbeinu. I did not know they're going to worship this God. So the Ramban explains that Am Yisrael were now looking for someone to Chalila replace HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but their mistake, their desire was that they felt they needed an intermediate, that they couldn't connect HaKadosh Baruch Hu directly. They need someone in between, and that was the problem of the Chet Hegel. So that was the Chet, and then there was a slippery slope from then, that they also went and worshipped this Hegel. The Erev Rav caused them to worship the Hegel. So the Chazal Sofer, here in the Hagoyas on Shas, explains that is the first opinion of Rabbi Yechanan and Tanakam and the Braiso, that they said that Am Yisrael said Elucha Loshen Rabim to mitzarv the Egel with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Well, why is that good? Said no. What he mean to say, not that Shituf is fine. Shituf is not good, but the intention is to say the Ramban. They wanted the Egel as an intermediate. So they say we have an Egel who's the intermediate between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So that's Loshen Rabim. We have HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and then we have the Egel, which is the intermediate. And that's why Am Yisrael did not do something so bad, and therefore the is Chayav Kloyo. Says of Shimon Bar Yochai, yeah, but still, if you coming and comparing and equating the Egel to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so that's called Shituf. That's a problem. Even though they just wanted it as an intermediate. It's also terrible of a desire. So what was the answer that Rashi Bar Yochai says? And this answer says, it's brought down the Shilas Yavitz, Rabbi Yaakov Emdin, and he says, look at the Marshal. The Marshal really says the same thing, and also the Ben Yoyada says the same Mahalach. And really, the Ramban himself, in the end of his piece, says the Nekuda as well, because he quotes the Gemara. He says, what did the Gemara say? What was the answer? He Ivu Elohus Arbe. What does it mean, Ivu Elohus Arbe? They want a lot of gods. So says the Ramban, they didn't know which power to use. They're looking for intermediate. They didn't know what is the best intermediate to connect HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So they were looking, is this, is that. They were looking for some koyach to be the connector to Hashem. That's what Ivu Elohus Arbe means, says the Ramban. So says the Maharsha, says the Rav Yaakov ending, says the Ben Yoyodo, that's what Shir Bar Yochai says. That's why it's not a shituf. And that's why it's not a real avodah zarah. All they wanted is intermediate. They believe that Kadosh Baruch Hu, He is the Elokim Chaim. He's the number one who gave the powers for the intermediate gods which were below Him. And the Avetz brings the Gemara Menachos that Goyim, they call Hashem Eloika de Elohayo. I mean, it's the God of gods. That's why Am Yisrael did the mistake of the Egel, that they can't connect to Kadosh Baruch Hu directly. They have an intermediate. That's also avodah zarah, but it's not as terrible avodah zarah of denying Kadosh Baruch Hu Chas V'Shalom Legamri. And that's what the Ben Yoda says, that the Meshituf is when you say that it's equal. You have a Kadosh Baruch Hu, Chalil V'Chas, something else equal to Him. Here he didn't say it's equal. Kadosh Baruch Hu is the Echot. Everything comes from Him. It's just intermediate. That's what Shir Bar Yochai is pointing out, that what Shir Bar Yochai is saying is the Divrei Ramban of the mistake of Chet Egel. So the Mahalach of the Gemara, according to Ramban, is very glad. Everybody agrees the idea that Kadosh Baruch Hu was the one. He's the Ikar Kadosh Baruch Hu in the world. And everybody else is just Koyches below Him. But the first Shita Rabbi Yochanan and Achayim, they're saying that that's why it says Loshen Rabim, plural, to say that there's two koiches. There's the main one and the secondary one. Says Shir Bar Yochai, if you equate Kadosh Baruch Hu to another koyach, that's even worse. So what does it mean? There's a koyach Elyon Kadosh Baruch Hu. But the Evu Lehelus Arbe, they were looking for the secondary one. Which one is the right secondary one? This is the depth of the Mahalach of the Gemara, and this is the depth of what Chet Egel is all about based on the Ramban. Anyone who wants to join Shom Machshava email list, to what's a good, please email shommachshava@gmail.com.